Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I'm your host, Patricia Baker. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Miss PK.
You're so sweet.
Roasting in Tucson, I hear.
Oh, my God. It's supposed to be 111 by Friday again.
Yikes.
Right now, it's only 107.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Air conditioning is on.
Oh, you got that right.
So where are we with the numbers? And we got such a great guest today with an amazing story. Carl Higdon, the Wyoming hunter, coming right up with Laura Ranger, the author of a new book. So first and foremost, tell us where we stand.
Well, you know, the main thing is the remainder of this month really is still about family type situations, whether it's fun family, weddings, etc., or if it's, oh my God, look what they did. They've overdrawn the account again. And it's family bickering back and forth, trying to come to terms of what they think they want to be. Everybody wants it to be perfect, and it isn't. It's not going to be perfect. But it's a good time to take a look at how to make things a little nicer at home. Take a look. Maybe you may want to redecorate a little bit. Do something that's bright, spiritual, uplifting, colorful, and be nice to one another. Everybody's snapping, whether it's the weather or I won't say government, because that couldn't do that to us. But nothing is normal right now. And everybody wants it to be perfect. And we're looking for this wonderful thing to drop down and take us away. Trust me, it's not going to happen. So we might just as well play it cool, do what we can to make the family situation happy. And it's our family of friends or our work family. But anything that we consider a family grouping, be nice. I'll use the phrase, pet the puppy, it won't bite. If you don't pet, you're going to get bit.
Be nice to the puppy.
Yes.
Okay, we can do that. We can. So remember, too, what your friend Jeff Harmon told us about.
Oh, yes.
This situation that we're in right now with the Middle East, in Iran and Iraq and Israel. But he did say that from his reading, astrologically, it wasn't going to become a nuclear event, thank God.
No, but it's still, everybody's on edge because we're watching so much destruction around us, whether it's on a day-to-day basis. This business of trying to stop I'll say the illegals coming in, et cetera, so on. We had an instance here where we had them trying to take care of what they thought were illegals, that they were being prosecuted. And so people stormed it, whatever. It was actually them trying to take care of a major situation, and they interfered with the whole thing and blew it up. Because nobody really is paying attention to what's truly happening. They're many times assuming they think they know what's happening.
And I think there's a lot of angry, brainwashed people.
Oh, God, yes.
That don't get it. And talk to the mothers of these young people that were murdered. And then let's get to this.
Yes.
It's a horrible situation. And I mean, look where I am in Massachusetts. I mean, where everybody seems in politics and the government seems to be corrupt. So it's a very challenging situation. Hopefully it's opening some eyes, right?
Well,
but
I'd like to think so. When I first moved here, there was hardly any issues as far as trafficking or what have you. Now there's a shooting almost every day. Not always a murder, but nonetheless a shooting every day. And hit and runs. I thought, my God in heaven, Can't you see what's in front of you?
Yeah.
And why can't people just slow down enough to be kind to one another? Everybody is hostile, angry, and they're waiting for what they consider their piece of the pie. What made them think they're entitled to it?
Yeah. Exactly.
That has a lot to do with it.
It does. So those are super different days.
Everyone wants it to be perfect. We're looking for this major thing to take place. We're going to encapsulate people. Great for family, great for friends. No, because everybody's stressed out. Next month, everybody's going to be on their toes. We'll talk about that come 1st of July.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of stuff that's revving up. The most important thing you can do is tidy up your home, your group of friends, your area that you want to be special. Be nice to somebody else. Doesn't matter who, just be nice.
Yes, we can all do that. Absolutely. So we're
about
to take a journey into a life that was very normal, very regular, and then took a turn. This is going to be all about Carl Higdon and his family tonight. And we have a very well-known author, Laura Ranger, who has several novels under her belt with more coming. She has been traditionally published since 2014. And from that experience and with tremendous support, she began the traditional Foundations Book Publishing Company in 2016. Since then, Laura has begun the hybrid company, Vitality House Book Publishing, to help those authors who wish to print their work in an affordable way with professional guidance. And Laura took on the challenge of expanding on this incredible story of Carl Higdon, and she has brought it to life. The book is now available through all outlets, Amazon. Actually, the Amazon link is on the Supernatural Girls page today. You can just click right through and buy your copy. I guarantee you, you will be spellbound by this story. We were when we also brought Marjorie and Carl onto the show.
Right.
A couple of times, and unfortunately, Carl has passed away. Marjorie is still with us. God bless her. And now Laura is coming to tell the rest of the story. So, Laura, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, Patricia. Hi, PK. So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm loving to have you.
It's our pleasure, for sure.
Yes, because you have told the story. And there are other books out about this and a lot of magazine and videos and things. But now you have the complete story out. So tell us, what was it that captivated you?
Well, I actually watched Carl on the one interview, and he was struggling to breathe at the time, but he was still just mesmerizing, captivating. And Marjorie told her side as well. And from there, I started researching and I started digging. And here's the part that got me was in the early 70s, there were a lot of people who were, and 60s, they were claiming to have seen or encountered or been abducted and brought back and that sort of thing, but they weren't believed. And their stories are tragic because even family members were turning their back on them. Marriages ended up in divorce. And here was a man who was not in this town very long, has the same experience as so many other people, and he was believed. So that made me say, wait a minute, there's more to this story than just the encounter, what took place. And I wanted to get to the bottom of that. So from there, unfortunately, by the time that I really wanted to put this thing together, Carl had passed. But Marjorie has been a wealth of information. And I'm sure living in it and being in the day-to-day, she probably wasn't seeing the significance that I was seeing of this man who had I think they'd only lived there 6 years. been in this town for such a short period of time, and yet Carl said it, so it was believed.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
It is. Which
wow.
To me said, what is it about this man and his story that's so believable? And then I went digging even more. And unfortunately, this story has been convoluted many times too. So
you're talking about the online.
Oh, yes. And, the different people would tell the story. And I think, did you even listen to Carl? So what I took to tell his story was things that either he actually said or I found in the research of, he worked very extensively with Dr. Leo Sprinkle, who was well known in this field. So in what he was able to do with Carl to, through hypnosis and things like that, be able to draw out the rest of the story and the things that he was so traumatized when he first came back that he was able to uncover and get to. All of that came together. And from there, I went sifting for all the truths.
Yeah.
Just the truth in this book. For those who don't know the story, which this story is told worldwide. There's even a room in a museum in Japan where you can actually hear Carl telling his story. But the Carl.
Let me just step in for a second, because I just want to say, I know Marjorie worked very closely with you, giving you all of the information and confirming what happened, what didn't happen, so you could sort it out. I mean, Marjorie is an amazing woman herself in her own right. She has her own book that she wrote about this. But they were such a beautiful and, in that way, unique family. Maybe not unique for the times.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other part is this couple made it to 64 years of marriage. That in itself is a
miracle.
Yes.
Right. Especially in this day and age. But not only that, but she stood by him all the way. And everything that he went through. And in this story, I do bring in other aspects of their life. They've had a hard life. These people just had things coming at them every turn. And I think too, the bond in the family, because they're close to their kids and each other, that it's got to be only that got them through all of these hardships. And Carl was a remarkable man. He built 5 houses over all his years, and he built those houses. And when someone would tell him, you can't do that, he said, watch me. So I really liked his resilience and his, but really he was an oil foreman. So if anybody is familiar with oil rigs and whatever, it takes a strong personality to be able to do that. So I was able to turn to Marjorie on so many accounts. And of course, I had a lot of questions, because in the bottom of my mind, it was, what was so different? Why did people believe this story? And so many others were not. And one of the things that I think was so special about Carl was the legacy that he left was, if you called him to talk about your experience, he would listen. He didn't judge. He didn't say, no, that couldn't happen. He just listened. And a lot of people would start the conversations with, I think you're crazy. And then as he would let them talk and he would ask them questions and whatever, it usually came out that they had had a similar encounter or something strange had happened.
Right.
And they felt validated. They felt heard by Carl. So that was so important to me to get that out about him and this family. They were, and, you know, Marjorie still, I mean, I would call her and say, okay, can you clear this up for me? Can you sort this for me? I'm not understanding. So she was very instrumental in timelines too, because Carl would go wherever the oil fields were drilling. And so they moved around a lot. So I would get confused. And so Marjorie helped me piece all of that together and understand. Every single one of their kids were born in a different city because of the where the oil was at the time.
Yeah. And you also got, excuse me for interrupting, but you also have a lot of photos in the book.
I do.
That Marjorie shared with you, which is
right.
Great. So again, I want to keep telling everybody, you've got to get the book so that you can see the whole story, so that you can see the photos, because Laura has created a book that you walk into and you are in these people's lives and you are looking at the world the way they did. It is a very insightful book and
fabulously done, for sure.
Thank you.
Experiential, but it'll give you that kind of a feeling. You'll get immersed in all of it, and it will give you quite a perspective on an ET abduction. This is a for real ET abduction, and this book will show you exactly what happened, and all of the things that you thought you knew about Carl. You may change your mind. You might find out, oh, I was misled. It's this way, not that way, because thanks to Marjorie and Laura, they've straightened all of that out. So you're getting the real truth with that. And
for sure.
You know, there's just so much to talk about with his experience alone. I know people are waiting to hear, okay, what the hell happened to him, right? And he was a man's man, as Marjorie described, and he was a hunter. And it's a question of, why did they pick him, or was it just right place, right time? And I'm going to go with he was at the right place at the right time for this to happen. I don't think they were really looking for him, right?
No. He, in the oil drilling business, you either have to have a whole team or none at all. And I'll tell you, there's that oil show that came out with Billy Bob Thornton recently. And that the book was done, but that gave me such a perspective on his business. It was hard. So this one particular day, he went to go pick up his crew to go out to the field, and two of them had the flu. So they couldn't work, because it's either all or nothing. So he decides he's just gotten a brand new rifle. He's going to go home, get the rifle, and go hunting. He went to an area that he's never been to before. And he had the intentions of going to one place. And along the way, very Carl, he runs into two stranded motorists and stops to help them. That was very Carl. So he's helping them. They all pull out some coffee. They're talking and whatever. And the guys say, "Where are you going?" And he tells them. And they said, "No, go over here." And he said, "Well, I'm not really familiar with the area." "No, you'll do better for elk hunting," because that was his intention. "You'll do better over here." So he goes to the area that they're talking about. When he gets there, he had a 2-wheel drive truck, which is very important in the story. And so he decides to park on the top of a hill and walk down. And when he parks, there's a forest ranger there. Well, now they break out the coffee and talk and whatnot. And Carl says what he's intending to do. And that he says, "Well, why are you parking up here?" And Carl says, "Well, because I'm not sure of the terrain, so I'm just going to walk in." Okay. So Carl goes in, and he gets down to a clearing, and he sees 5 elk. One is a bull elk, the big one, which he has a license for, off in the distance. So he takes aim, he fires, and he said it was like slow motion. And he could see the bullet come out of the rifle, which you shouldn't be able to do.
No.
It's as if everything slowed down. And he watched it come out of the rifle, go about 50 to 60 yards ahead, and stop and drop down into the snow. But there was nothing there. So he walks forward to retrieve the dropped bullet, and he sees a transparent cube, which he said was about 5 feet by 5 feet by 7 feet. So not very big. He gets the bullet out of the snow and puts it in his canteen. And he heard somebody over his shoulder, pointed the rifle down, which is what hunters do.
Yeah, so good gun safety.
And he said when he turned around, there was a man who was floating. Well, it was an alien, but he had very similar features to us. And in that, in the book, there is a picture because Carl had sketched just after, and then they had an artist come in and did a rendering. So on Marjorie's book, she's got the picture of the alien, but also in this book, you'll find that. But Carl said he never even would take an aspirin if he had a headache. He wasn't one to take pills or anything. And this being says, "Are you hungry?" And Carl says, "Yeah, little." And he floats these pills to Carl and says, "Take these. They're 4-day pills." And they explain that they come to the earth, get like livestock, they wanted his elk, fish, things like that, because their planet cannot sustain that life. And so they had come, and this being, turns out he's also considered a hunter-gatherer like Carl. But they came to get the elk. And as Carl is taking one of these pills, this being says, "Would you want to come with us?" And he says, "Sure." But Carl later says how he felt like he was compelled to do and say things that he wouldn't normally do and say. So he was just transported. He didn't walk or anything like that. He was transported into this cube that when he was looking at it, he could see the forest on the other side of the cube. But he was put into this cube, into a seat and strapped in, and there was a mirror up in the corner. And when he looked, he saw all 5 elk behind him in this little bitty cube, all 5 elk behind him in a cage. And there were 2 other aliens in this cube with him. And then he said that they traveled 163,000 light miles. We're used to light years.
Yes, right.
Light miles. Mm-hmm.
One thing, let me just mention before you go on, because I think as you talk about, Carl was a very strong personality, had to be, to overcome the challenges in his life. He was a straight up guy, and he commanded respect, but in a gentle way. And even this ET respected him and admired his rifle in this whole interaction, and said he wished he could have kept it, but they weren't allowed to. But there was this certain, the feeling I got was so strong from Carl of the fact that these are 2 beings from different planets who had a sense of respect for each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another determining factor in here of why this whole experience is so different. But I also want to bring up the fact that we've been hearing a lot lately from people saying, "Oh, there are no ETs. It's all interdimensional. There's nothing, that you can't travel to other planets." Well, we disagree. And this is just one case that we feel backs up the experience. And yeah, there are beings from other planets that come here. They certainly come here to get our wildlife and food to bring it back to their planet. That is what they're doing, some of them. But again, there's so many places that I look at this interaction and think that they saw each other in some way as equals. And that's so
On the
unusual.
trip back, they discussed that fact that they both are hunters and gatherers. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there was some camaraderie there, and it never went away.
No.
So that was amazing, just right there. The strength of character that created with Carl, that created this meeting. And I think too, one of the things I think Marjorie shared was that because he had his rifle pointed down and he wasn't afraid, that it was again a communication that was on equal ground, except for the place where Carl felt he couldn't say no to this guy. Even though,
and he said it really felt like a compulsion. He just felt like
what is that?
Normally, if one of us had said, "Hey, you got a headache? You want an aspirin?" he would have said no.
Right.
But there had to have been some sort of form of trust there. You hear these stories about people just being taken against their will and that sort of thing. That was not the case here. Right. Carl was asked, one, was he hungry and did he want these? I guess he could have said no, but in doing so, a very interesting outcome to this was, when he returned, they did all kinds of tests on him. And ailments that he'd had were gone.
That is incredible. And also is proof that something happened because he had scars on his lungs from tuberculosis. Right. And the scars were gone. I mean, we all like to know how to get rid of scars on the lungs. I mean, especially back then, there was absolutely no technology, even today, that you can erase scars in somebody's lungs. And plus they said in his blood work, his blood was so enriched.
Right.
All the levels, vitamins, minerals, whatever they were looking for. Everything was up super high. And there was no explanation that they had for that as well.
Right. So it's something that we don't know yet. So it's too advanced. What was it that he gave Carl? And Carl really didn't want to eat for 3 days. So his 4-day pills lasted 3 days. Yeah. But on the return trip, since they were bringing him back, they took the pills back. So one of the things when Carl was coming around, it was like, where are my pills? Where are my 4-day pills? But, and as he got his memories back, because he had really no recollection. And here's another, when they were leaving, Ozza one, that's the alien, he didn't have a hand, he had a cone. And he would point this cone and things would move. So as they were being lifted, he pointed the cone, his cone arm, at Carl's pickup truck. And when he returned, that pickup truck was in an impossible place to be.
Right. Yes.
They ended up having to get 4-wheel drive trucks in there and them pulling each other out of these ruts. There's no way this 2-wheel drive vehicle could have gotten to where it ended up. But Carl did remember seeing him point this cone and it go to a different place. But when he dropped him off near the truck. But Carl knew that wasn't where it's not where he left it. So he walked right past the truck, missed it altogether. But it was getting dark and late. And so he needed some shelter. So he decided he'd go back to this truck to seek shelter. And good thing, because that helped to find him.
It did. But here's the other thing. they dropped him out of the bottom of the cube. So he fell and injured his shoulder. So that was a shoulder injury that stayed with him forever. But, this is not unlike what happens to a lot of abductees. They are dumped out of the bottom of the spaceship. And some people end up with severe head injuries and die. But I think, again, it's just my speculation that it was due to the respect that the ET had for Carl, that they dumped him out of the bottom, but they didn't dump him from too high up, so that he didn't end up with a serious injury. He ended up with hurting his shoulder. I guess when he landed, it was not stable, a stable landing spot, and so
he slipped on a rock. And went down. And but this is where Dr. Sprinkle was able to help Carl, because anytime he would think about it, the pain in his shoulder would start again. But through hypnosis and through suggestion, he was able to help him manage that pain. But it did persist.
Yeah, it did. And the other thing is that which I was very surprised to hear, and because it was a very scary aspect of this story, that when they went looking for him because he was missing, he had been gone for far too long for this hunting experience, and Marjorie was on the hunt for him with the sheriff's office and everybody else. I mean, there's a whole cast of characters there. But Carl was in shock. So this whole experience was a bit much, too hard to integrate for anybody. And the sheriff's office, I don't know who it was, but somebody actually drew their gun on Carl, and they were ready to shoot him because they didn't know how crazy he was getting and why.
Right.
They were scared of him.
Right.
That was scaring me to think, my God, they couldn't figure this out, so they're ready to shoot him.
Well, it's like his memories were wiped. When Marjorie got to him, he was cold and shivering, and so she just, it's her spouse. She went to drape her coat over his shoulders, and he didn't recognize her and tell her, get away, don't touch me. So they are going to transport him to the ER. And one of the people that he worked for intercepted them taking him to the hospital and decides he'd be better with him in the car. Well, when Carl got out, one of the things that when he got to this other planet, their lights really bothered his eyes. Yeah. Very, very severe. And anytime he would think about it, his eyes would just, for the rest of his life, his eyes would just water profusely. Yeah. Yes. So when they stopped to take him out of the one truck, put him into this car, he bolted. He just took off. And it ended up being that Marjorie and one of the other men realized it was the lights, the car lights, that were bothering him. So Marjorie and him and this sheriff goes over and draws his gun, and Carl is crouched down, but he was acting irrationally. So they're telling everybody, turn off the lights to the cars, the vehicles. And when they did, Carl got up, walked over, and they had opened the back door to this car. Carl closed that door and got in the passenger seat, and he was fine. The lights, even when he got to the ER, he complained about the lights hurting his eyes. So one of the nurses, Nurse Ella, she had turned off the lights and realized that it may not be rational to us, but something was going on. And Dr. Sprinkle was able to help him with that as well through suggestion.
Yeah, Dr. Sprinkle was an amazing man, and he did help a lot of abductees recover their memories and stabilize the experience in their lives, integrate it so that it didn't haunt them anymore and they didn't have to be afraid. He was a great man, and he was a great friend to Carl and Marjorie and really tried to help them in every way that he could. So, yeah, God bless him. He's not with us anymore either, unfortunately, but we did have him on the show. So he was delightful, a very gentle man, very gentle and very understanding of this whole experience. They were
I was able to glean a lot of information from his records.
Yeah. Great man. So here's Carl in the hospital, and poor guy
recognizing his wife from all those years. They've got 4 children, and all those years together. And he keeps calling her the pretty lady in the corner. she was, but it goes to show the type of people that they were.
Yes.
Because I don't know. I think I might have lost it. My spouse didn't even recognize me or whatever, but she was very patient and stayed by his side through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He had a trigger where all of his memories came right back. And he knew who she was. Their daughter had walked in the room, and their firstborn. And when she walked in, it's like everything spun back out, and he remembered a lot of what had happened. Of course, his wife, his children, their life. Some of it he kept. It was buried in his subconscious, and Dr. Sprinkle helped him draw that back out and remember those things. But I tried to represent it as best as I could in the book, and I interspersed the pictures as the story unfolded. So it's not just all the pictures thrown in the middle of the book.
No, and you're giving us kind of the bare bones. There's a lot more to the story. So everybody, if you want to know, you've got to get the book, the complete Carl Higdon story. It is a great book.
So fascinating.
I mean, there's so many things that are unique about his story. There's, common points with an abduction, but there's so many things, again, that Laura intrigued you so much. The character of the family that was so strong, the bond that was so strong, and how everybody in the town believed him. They were like, look, if Carl said it happened. That's it. There's no questioning.
And that's the common comment that was made. And Carl said it. It was real.
It knocked me out of it. This is how it was.
That's right.
And how, really, what a loving way to respond to somebody who's been through something from the unexplained.
So traumatic.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But, one of the things I remember Marjorie saying about this, that people would call, as you mentioned, Laura, people would call and talk about their own experiences. And Carl was very, again, grounded, very matter of fact. He would, like you said, he'd patiently listen. Then he'd say, and now it's time to get back to your life. The business of living your life.
Right. Which is exactly what he did.
That's right. He did it, and he gave that very good advice to other people. And what about the government? Were they interested in him? Did you find anything about that?
Now, here's another interesting thing. When I looked at a lot of different abductee cases, they were like hot on their heels constantly. Right. Now, we know some of the stories that our friend Bob Luca went through.
Oh, yeah.
The government, just horrifying things that would happen. And it was different for Carl. It was an entirely different. But it did also. Carl ended up being able to do things like water witching.
Yeah.
And so that was another layer where he helped other people. And there's a particular case, I do reference it in the book, where the man was told by the aliens where to drill on his land for water, and everybody told him he was crazy. he did it. He hid it. They said it came from Canada. Even his kids said not true.
Mm-hmm.
And it was traced back to it was Canada. So why was he disregarded and Carl was not?
Right.
It really comes down to his personality, who he was. He was just a very matter of fact, and like you said, a man's man.
Yeah, and he was authentic. He
Absolutely
was authentic, and so is Marjorie. And so is Marjorie. Marjorie is just as authentic. She is who she is. She knows who she is. Now, let's not forget one of the things that Marjorie said a while ago about why they returned Carl, because she had a lot of kids, right? One year after another.
In her spare time, right?
Yeah, she said enough of this, right?
Carl had 3 boys from a previous marriage.
Right.
And then he and Marjorie got married and they had 4 kids.
Right in a row.
They were, they were right in succession, one after another. And by the 4th one, she's like, done. Yeah. We're done. And so Carl ended up having a vasectomy. And when he was on the other planet, they scanned him. This thing came out of the wall and scanned his body. They were like, can't use you. We'll take you back. And that's what Carl believes is it was because he wasn't of use to them.
Yeah, they couldn't breed him.
There were other people that were there, and they were there when Carl got there. They were there when he left. So, and there were some that were young. So we really believe that it was because he wasn't of use to them in continuing.
Couldn't procreate.
That's right. So,
they're like, we'll bring you back, Exactly. So.
And he kept saying how the light hurt his eyes, And they said if they could have used him and kept him, his eyes would have adjusted. Mm-hmm. But praise God, they couldn't. He could go home to his family. Sure.
Yeah, but it does.
A lot of people who don't have that same ending.
No, because it begins to answer a number of questions from a lot of the 411 stories where people disappear without a trace.
Right.
And the dogs lose the scent. They can't find the person. There's so much that goes on along that line. And I know he was on one of David Paulides' shows, the UFO Connection, Missing 411. But yes, that does give us more clues as to what may have happened to a number of people, because he saw the people that kept. And he said when he went to their, whatever it was, some big building or station or whatever, there were more people there, humans, that had been taken.
And he was, when he first got to the planet, there was an older gentleman and he recognized him. But he didn't come back.
Oh, see? Yeah.
But when he was talking to Dr. Sprinkle, he remembered where he recognized him from, and he had been on a show. They were looking for him. But
that's where he ended up, on another planet. That's why, again, I keep looking at all these people saying, well, it's only interdimensional, or it's in the future, time travel. That may be part of it. I don't disagree. There are interdimensional beings. There are people who are, there are races that can time travel. I don't disagree with any of that. But there are also species like this that travel from one planet to another. They take humans and they bring them back to their planet for whatever purpose. In this case, it would have been for breeding. They would have created more Carls. Right. So, thank goodness Marjorie put her
Carl already fixed that.
Yeah, I was like, no.
That's right.
Kind of right?
That it's just us in this universe. That is arrogant, and that this species are gone. Carl's gone. It was brand new to Carl, but to them it was antiquated.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they go, hey, here's a food source right here, and they took 5 elk. I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, they thought, what's 5 elk? So why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and steal our food.
Harvest
They saw
our food and our people.
And that's what Carl was complaining about too. He kept screaming, "They took my elk! They took my elk!" Right?
He did. He was very upset about that.
Oh, I bet so.
Yeah. The other thing is
that bull elk. They're huge.
I know, and that's what makes me think of Doctor Who. You know, the larger on the inside, bigger on the inside, with the TARDIS. That was that flying machine that looked like a phone booth. But when you walked inside, it was enormous, and so it's kind of similar with this. That it held these elk, it held other people, it held some other aliens. So very fascinating. The whole story is just.
Oh, definitely.
I'm so glad you brought this forward yet again.
And hopefully I made Marjorie proud. She should be very proud of her man.
I'm sure she is.
Yes.
Yes, and herself, because she's a great lady.
Absolutely.
And the way she handled this, it's like, you and PK were saying, I would have been, crazed at this point. But she knew how to keep her cool. She really knew how to stay in it and be calm. And she did a great job with all of it.
But she overcame a lot herself.
Yes.
And she pointed it right back to Carl to get her through. So they relied on each other, and it was a beautiful story.
It is. It's remarkable. And also, he remained in touch with this ET, didn't he?
Yes. Over the years, he would basically, it was like mind downloads, communication. And Carl would be told to go out to a particular location. He'd get Marjorie up in the middle of the night. Off they go. And she would go. But there were a lot of things that they would communicate mentally, which I found pretty fascinating, because this one encounter connected these two for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to remember back when Carl and Marjorie were talking to us about this. I don't know what was the alien's name again?
Azo One.
Azo One. Okay.
Yeah.
They had rules. Because, he couldn't take the rifle, even though he really wanted to. He knew he couldn't. But I don't think he was supposed to be communicating with Carl either, was he?
That I kept digging for Carl's actual words, because there were a lot of things said that when I would go back to what Carl actually said, his transcripts, things like that, they were misconstrued. So it was like they had a special moment when Azo One was bringing Carl back. It was just the two of them. No other aliens came back with them. He's just taking him home and dropping him off. And in that time, they shared a lot of stories, and that's where he learned so much about Azo One and what he does. He is a hunter-gatherer, and he was admiring his rifle and telling him these things. But that was alluded to in many things that I read, but I never heard that from Carl's mouth. So unless it was after, a part that was not. So I tried very hard not to put anything in this book that I couldn't verify. Right, exactly, which is good. And as I recall, when he spoke with us, he didn't really want to talk about that. Much. No. It's like he had been told it was not supposed to be happening, but they did have that bond. They had that friendship, is what I would call it. Yes. And very unusual that they would. And if he would have a situation, maybe there was a drought or that sort of thing, he would reach out mentally to Azo One and it would rain. Then he'd be like, okay, turn it off. Yeah, exactly. That sort of thing. So they helped each other throughout the rest of his life.
which is great.
That's
And, you know,
fascinating.
one of the reasons I was thinking about this today, knowing that we were going to be talking about all of this, and, you know, Betty and Bob, when they had their experience, Betty had her experience, Bob also had his own, but Betty's experience, she took it public.
Yeah, she did.
With a big splash of a book, which was fabulous, by Raymond Fowler. But I think that kind of waved the flag in front of the bull for the government. That she was going around and talking to everybody publicly across the country about it. And I think that's why one of the reasons why they were followed relentlessly. Their phones were bugged, their homes were into all of that. The other reason I
ended up writing the book for herself, where you know, really like a therapeutical type of deal.
Right.
Exactly.
So it wasn't like they weren't out there splashing it all over the town, and that's what we needed.
Right.
Even though it was very well covered by many, many newspapers and magazines, they weren't the ones that were going out looking to create this publicity blitz with what happened. It was, again, very down home, normally.
That's the type of people they are.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why they were pretty much left to their own devices. Yeah. The other thing with Betty, though, that I think made her a target, and I've said this before, and I will say this again, she was an amazing artist, and she was able to draw that ship out of the last detail, plus the beings, their insignia on their uniforms, everything.
It was as if she took a picture of them.
Exactly. So I think the government was like, well, we better keep an eye on her. She probably knows more than what she's saying or whatever. But the government's so stinky because they would never come out and just talk to them openly. They just did everything, undercover. But thank God that didn't happen with Carl and Marjorie like that. It just, thank goodness it didn't.
I think part is his story is different from the norm.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a cube before. Right. And certainly not a transparent cube.
Right.
But I also know that there's enough questionable stuff out there. I've witnessed it myself. So, I gave credence to what he was saying.
Yes.
But that's the reason when we were designing the cover, the cover artist came with a little domed looking thing. I'm like, no.
Bill, can you put the cover back up for everybody? We'd love to show everybody the cover again, Bill, if you're listening to us. Hopefully you are. We would like to see the cover.
And maybe he isn't.
You have the book with you, Laura, by any chance? Okay. We gave it to Bill.
It's okay.
What can you say?
Bill,
just Bill.
Well, you can go to Supernatural Girls and on the Facebook page, and you will see it there. And it's a gorgeous cover. I think it really depicts this is what happened.
It's beautiful, and
it's fabulous. A great book. Great job, Laura. Great job, Marjorie. I hope you're listening with your beautiful daughter, and that you are supporting all of this. And everybody better get this book. I'm telling you.
Definitely.
We're going to make sure the audiobook comes out fairly soon. So if you prefer to listen, you will be able to do that as well. And again, the story just has so many great elements. And of course, Laura, you being a writer and a publisher, recognized a great story when you saw it.
I did.
Yes. This would make a great feature film or a series. My gosh.
Oh gosh, yes, wouldn't it?
I would love that to, be able to, and one thing that, yes, I am the publisher, but I'm not getting any royalties from this book. This book is entirely made to support Marjorie. I'm giving all the royalties to her, so please buy the book.
Yes, please buy the book. It's very generous of you, Laura.
Most definitely.
No gift. Yes, which we know you are very spiritual and very generous. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
What happened to our producer? Because I think we're about to go overtime, but we can, I guess, because nobody can stop us.
That's right. He's not there. We won't get mad. We'll get even.
Well, I can talk with you ladies all night long.
No, because we are having a great time here.
That's right.
And the name of the book is Taken, the complete Carl Higdon story. Remarkable. It'll blow your mind when you read all the details, see all the pictures that Laura and Marjorie have included in this fantastic
It's
book.
fabulous.
Yes, it is great. So I don't know where our producer is because I think we're supposed to be off the air. So we'll just keep talking until they stop.
Easy come, easy go. He's gone. That's it.
A remarkable point to this is
Laura, how long did it take you to put all this together, dear?
a couple years.
Because I was going to say, it's so well documented. It had to take you a long time to pull it together.
It did. And Marjorie was great to supply some of the pictures. And a fascinating picture in there is this bullet that Carl picked up. Actually was turned inside out and the lead was missing. So whatever it hit, and he believes it's the cube, was with enough force it turned the bullet inside out. And there are pictures in the book of that.
Yes. And unfortunately, that bullet was given to Leo Sprinkle, who was at a university, working at a university at the time, and somebody stole the bullet.
Oh,
yeah, they were doing the ballistics on it, and somebody took it.
They took it, stinker.
And you have to wonder, was somebody?
Did somebody or somebody?
Hello.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yes. Yes.
Without naming names.
We can't point fingers at.
No. Because it wasn't on Dr. Sprinkle at all.
But just in case.
Just in case. Anyway.
Well, look, we should probably wrap, and I guess eventually they'll play the out music for us in video. But again, Laura, thank you so much. You are such a dear person, so talented. And so driven with foundations, book publishing. You've turned it into a complete success in a very short period of time. There is a submissions tab there on your website. If anybody would like to go ahead and submit something for Laura to review and her team, they will look it over and get back to you. And then you also have your other publishing company for people who want to self-publish with help.
Right.
So that's two wonderful options from your country.
And in your spare time, you just lay around eating grapes and be fanned, right?
That's it. And I work a full-time job.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I feel guilty when I call this woman because I'm like, so busy, but I have to call her.
No, and I'm glad you do. I love taking those few minutes and shift you.
Gives you a break. Well,
yes, we're always accepting submissions, and we do all genres. We do.
I'm going to try to be better. Yes. I promise.
Yes, I'm waiting patiently.
I've been so bad.
It's okay.
That's okay. That's
I get it.
You know how
I've got another book I'm about to come out with this year, and then I've got a series that is coming out next year.
Huh.
Fabulous.
And what will the series be about?
It is Christian fiction. I write primarily, this was off my beaten path, I write primarily suspense thriller. So it is all angels and demons.
Oh,
fun.
It's wonderful. Very appropriate for this time in our lives.
Oh,
very
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, we will be back in touch. And again, thank you for spending part of your very busy evening with us. So
thank
very
you.
grateful.
I appreciate you, ladies.
It's been a delight.
Yes.
As always.
Congratulations. Best of luck with this book. We're going to keep telling people to buy it because they need it. That's all there is to it. So buy the book.
Buy the book.
Of course.
Well, we'll sign off, and I guess eventually they'll play our out music.
Well,
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, honey. Take
Not
good
to
care.
feel alone.
I will. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.